My name is Neil Stevenson, Chief Executive of the Scottish Legal Complaints Commission. Last quarter, I discussed some of the exciting changes coming for the organisation following the passing of the Regulation of Legal Services Act. Since then, we've been in really positive discussions with the Scottish Government, looking at the commencement orders and funding which will be necessary to implement reform. One of the things we've been emphasising is that the most efficient way to implement will be a planned programme with dates set for each element of implementation in advance so we can give due notice to the profession and plan accordingly. This month, I've also spent time with our statutory and independent consumer panel. This panel is made up of individuals with a range of skills and experience, and all of them are passionate about making sure that legal services and regulation works for the public. The panel's responsibilities are significantly increased under the new legislation, and there's a new duty on the SLCC to make sure their work is appropriately funded. It was really fascinating to hear their discussions about what would be important in the future and their planning, and they're looking forward to consulting on those proposals early in the new year. Turning to incoming complaint numbers, we've seen very high incoming cases in the first part of this year, above our projections and above what we've seen in previous years. We need to carefully monitor this situation to make sure we have resource available to deal with the high volume of cases and handle complaints within appropriate timeframes. This month, we've also published a summary of case law that was contained in a Court of Session judgment in an appeal of an SLCC case. We think this is really helpful for solicitors in two ways. Firstly, it sets out the very low bar which applies to cases at the eligibility step in our process. We know that solicitors sometimes think that we admit complaints too easily, but we have to be aware of this court direction that there is a low threshold for admission. I think the second thing that's helpful in the case law is that there's a reassurance to solicitors that the eligibility decision is not a view on whether the case will go on to be upheld. All that decision means is that there's something that needs to be investigated further, and that's what that stage of the process should be delivering. Finally, I wanted to talk about our internal audit, which is currently underway by Audit Scotland. This is an important part of the oversight of the SLCC's work, and I hope to be able to talk about the outcome of that next quarter alongside our annual report and accounts, which give a summary of all the work we've delivered in the past year.